9:43, that's 17 minutes until 10 o'clock. You're watching Arc Maine right here on Fox 23. By the way, just in case you didn't know, September is National Honey Month, and a local beekeeping business offering a unique retail experience as well as live demonstrations, classes, and more.
Yeah, joining us now are the owners of the Honey Exchange, Phil and Meghan Gaven. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So first, can we start off by talking about how did you get into beekeeping? How long have you been in this business?
Oh my goodness. Well, you want to answer that one?
Well, when we first moved to Maine 20 years ago, I was a stay-at-home dad, and I may have had a little too much time on my hands. And I had been reading about colony collapse and the challenges that bees were having, and I thought maybe I'll be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And it turns out I was part of a nationwide trend of people doing that. And so a few years later, we thought, well, maybe having a store that caters to this, that's open, taking care of the beekeepers, but also showing off what the beekeepers are doing for our communities and our environment and all that stuff.
And I think this is so important because we've been reading so much about the demise of bees and how important they are to our environment and everything. But talk about that, how we just need to do everything we can to keep as many bees alive and keep the population growing.
That's right. When bees are in your neighborhood, you're getting more flowers, more fruit, more vegetables, more nuts. Everything is improving with a honeybee pollination. And so bees are important for our good health, our varieties of foods that we eat, and also, of course, for the delicious honey.
It's so delicious. Now, when we were on the phone, Meghan, you were saying that there's some maybe misconceptions or things people maybe don't know about the types of honey that are out there.
Right. So we get this question a lot. People tend to think that all honey tastes the same, and maybe you're always buying the same honey. But different plants make their own specific nectar, and those nectars taste different from each other. And so you can buy a crop-specific honey, like orange blossom. A lot of people have tried that. It's got a little bit of a citrusy taste. Or you could buy coriander honey, which is made from the nectar of blooming coriander, and that tastes like the way an Indian restaurant smells.
Wow.
And there's just a huge range of flavors and textures and colors that can add flavor to your food, your savory foods, and of course your sweet foods.
And that, Chris, I just thought there was just bee honey.
I know.
That's it. That's it. Talk about the different products you guys offer. You talked about the different varieties of honey. What else?
At the Honey Exchange, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, we have a whole gift store of home goods, things with bees on them, beautiful jacquard tea towels. We have a bunch of locally made and internationally made skincare products that have honey and beeswax, royal jelly. Like, we focus on products from beehives, and of course candles. There's just so much in our store. You should really just check it out.
Yeah, and classes as well, right?
Yeah, so in the wintertime we teach beginner beekeeping class, and then we have a sophomore beekeeping class for those people that want to return and dig down a little deeper into understanding what's going on in a beehive.
Yeah.
And then we kick off the spring we bring up a trailer load of 4 million bees to populate hives for new beekeepers or beekeepers who have lost their hives in the winter. And then we just roll into spring, and that's when beekeeping season really gets underway. And right now we're in honey harvest season, which is, I think, why it's honey month.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
We're extracting honey inside the shop, and it's a great time to come in because it just smells like heaven when we've got the spinner going.
Yeah. Hey, we were just talking about during commercial break that I remember doing a story on the Cape Elizabeth Beekeeping Club. South Portland has one too. Talk about how important it is to get young people interested in this field for the future.
Yeah, having students get involved with beekeeping is fabulous, as you say. It's not just about collaboration, which is of course what happens inside a beehive as well, but it's about working together. There's math involved, there's hands-on experience, there's becoming aware of what's happening in nature. We always say that for beekeepers, spring comes earlier than for everybody else, because as soon as the maple trees bloom, which is in March, which usually snow on the ground around here, beekeepers are like, yes, spring is here, because we're watching the trees and we're watching what our bees are doing. So it's just a fantastic way to get children and young adults more in tune with what's actually happening in their physical world around them, and enjoying the benefits of being brave. Putting your hands in a hive that has 80,000 bees that might sting you, being brave and proud. It's just a wonderful activity for children and young adults.
Let's talk about some of your collaborations with other businesses, especially with the Union restaurant at the Press Hotel. That's so cool.
Yeah, so one of the best parts of my job is I get to go and work the beehives at the top of the hotel, and it overlooks City Hall, and I have
Look
this
at that.
breathtaking view of all of Portland, and nobody even knows I'm up there except the people that are working at the hotel. And the bees are so safe because there's no bears up there, there's no skunks up there, there's no raccoons up there, and they just, we think about cities as being, buildings and streets, but if you think about the side of the street, there's trees running down it, and there's dandelions pushing up through the cracks, and all of those things are bee food. So the bees do really, really well in an urban environment, as it turns out.
I think people forget about how necessary they are. My mom and my stepdad own an almond ranch, and they have to have bees and beekeepers come out, so they get the to get the blooms of the flowers and to have really good almonds too.
Right, exactly. Honeybee pollination is critical for many crops, and in a place like California on the West Coast, there's 2 million acres are planted to just almonds. And so commercial beekeepers from all over the country will bring their hives to California in February for the almond bloom. And that's where you get like commercial crops of specific honeys. Because you couldn't leave your bees there because the rest of the time there's nothing else for them to eat. So like Phil was saying, in an urban environment where people are trying to have flowers the whole season, and there are trees that are blooming, some in the spring, some in the fall, whatever, there's food year round for them. When in Maine we say year round, what we mean is like, April to October. And then the bees store all of that honey, and then they eat it during the winter. That's what honeybees are. That's why they're making honey for themselves.
So fascinating.
If you give them a perfect environment and take care of them, they'll make extra, and that's the beekeeper's share.
Wow. Where can people learn more and come by and see the store and also maybe take a class?
Yeah. The Honey Exchange, we're open 6 days a week. We're closed on Mondays, which is why we're here this morning.
Worked out perfectly.
But it's we have a website.
The website is there, thehoneyexchange.com. And another thing, if you want to dig down and learn a little bit more about beekeeping, it's always best to learn your local beekeeping because our environment is so specific. So the Maine State Beekeepers Association has a fantastic website that has a wealth of information for people who want to explore the subject.
But our classes are up on our website, so if people want to get going in January, that's when we start teaching classes.
Take a class and take a taste.
Exactly. We do have a honey tasting at the Honey
Do that
Exchange.
any day of the week. Except
And
Monday.
Union Restaurant is doing a special honey prefix menu, I believe, this week.
Yeah, we just harvested the honey from those hives, and it is gorgeous.
Oh,
it's really rich
right.
and dark and intense.
Well, they are going to be coming on the show later this week.
Oh, good.
Hopefully we can do a taste test with them, so I'm excited.
Sure.
Yeah, I brought in the honey, and Christian's eyes just lit up like it's
my goodness.
Christmas Day. So.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for being here. We
having us.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.